The editor of The Big Issue, and Lettice Bromowski, reporter for Mail Online. Welcome back to both of you. So this hour we're going to kick off with the front page of The Telegraph, not their main story, which focuses on the spy ring that's been uncovered, which we will talk about later. But this is actually a brief story on the front page with plenty more inside, but it's about the row going on within Reform at the moment.
Yeah, a sort of explosive row that has really taken off overnight between Rupert Lowe and the Reform Party. He has now been kicked out of the party, standing independent, but basically there is now 3 investigations into Rupert Lowe going on, one from the Met Police, one from the party itself, and one from the parliamentary authorities. And they're basically saying that Rupert Lowe has been, or allegedly, has made physical threats of violence and has allegedly, again, had bullying claims against him from female members of staff. Rupert is vehemently denying this on his Twitter, and he's very much saying, you know, I will fight this. He himself, he's a man of means. He has millions and millions of pounds in his pocket. He actually donates his parliamentary salary to charity every year, so he will be willing to fight this, and he'll have the means to fight this. My curiosity is whether this has anything to do with Elon Musk getting involved in the row earlier this year, when he said on X that Farage wasn't going to be a good leader for the party, he wouldn't be a good PM, and he actually also at the same time backed Rupert Lowe and said, you know, I haven't met the guy, but I think he could be the person. Whether that started to sow some seeds of future hopes of him being Prime Minister in this, I mean, that will have to be told. But, yeah, it's very much spiralling out of control, and it's a very public row.
That's right. Rupert Lowe put on X, he said, I'm disappointed but not surprised to read Reform's untrue and false allegations. Let me be abundantly clear, this investigation is based on zero credible evidence against me, as has been repeatedly stated by the neutral investigator. None has been provided. And it goes on and on, refuting the allegations. But he also refers to the fact that the timing of it, he says, is suspicious because he'd just done an interview
with the Daily Mail.
He was quite critical with the Daily Mail, where he was critical of Nigel Farage.
And in this interview that he did, he essentially called Nigel Farage acting like a messiah within the party, basically saying that he wouldn't be a good Prime Minister either. And now this has all come out. So again, he's sort of disputing the facts based on that.
It's quite an ugly and quite public row.
Well, it feels as though it was inevitable. I mean, Reform are a small party without real influence, although they have managed to, or in one form or another, have managed to change how the Tories have tried to appeal to their electorate in the last number of years. But they're a small party. They're now down to 4 MPs because Rupert Lowe has been suspended. But because of the ego of Nigel Farage and a party that's built around one man's self-belief that he is then propelled into the national consciousness, this was inevitably going to happen. They claim to have policies, but the policies are not necessarily clear. It's also not clear if they are going to stand potentially in many, many more constituencies in another general election, how they're going to manage that, what they're going to stand on. And so what we have instead is interest in them, because this is all that we seem to have in them. I'm also curious as to where this sits with the police, because there have been claims that there's a police investigation. I haven't heard from the police. I haven't heard that, yes, we are investigating, and what exactly they're investigating. So it does feel as though there's a lot of air around this, but not maybe necessarily a lot of substance.
OK, we'll look into that, actually. That's a point. Let's move on and talk about the main story on the front of the Telegraph, which we said we were going to come to, and now we are. So this is a story that, again, is on a number of the front pages. This is this spy ring that's been uncovered. There were 3 convictions yesterday at the Old Bailey, and a lot more detail has come out around this investigation.
Well, this goes even deeper than that. This is a fascinating story, a brilliant investigation, I think, by the Daily Telegraph. They go beyond those who were convicted yesterday to the top. They claim that this man, Jan Marsalek, an Austrian who has gone missing, is the linchpin. He is the guy behind the spy ring. And it's over many pages within the Telegraph. It's worth reading. But just some of the top-line details on this. Marsalek, he is an Austrian who disappeared in 2020. A company that he ran, a German company called Wirecard, collapsed with a 1.9 billion euro hole in it, and off he went. There are Nobody's quite sure where he is. Some people say he is in Russia. Some say that he's moving between Russia and the Middle East. Some people say he's dead. But one thing that is clear is that he has been so tied to so many parts of Russia and Russian influence that he has been pulling strings with the spy ring that's been exposed in England. And also one other thing with him, it looks like he is also helping get drones for the Russian military that they're now using in Ukraine. So he's an incredibly influential, shadowy character, and this piece of journalism really gets to him.
Really interesting stuff. No doubt he would protest his innocence, of course, but really interesting stuff. And the broader story has taken up a lot of column inches, hasn't it, about these convictions yesterday and the fact that these 3 Bulgarians were working out of Great Yarmouth and part of a wider ring.
I mean, it's sort of very surprising that it was all happening out of Great Yarmouth and this huge, network that was actually operating all the way over Europe. They were surveilling a German military camp, and we don't really know what the damage has been done from that. But the details that we're getting at the moment, and as they're all being released from court now, are very exciting. Things like the gadgets that were being used. They had something like 75 different passports just found in that Great Yarmouth apartment. Over 200 mobile phones were found. All these different sort of spying equipment and things like that. On top of the fact that 3 of them seem to have been involved in some sort of love triangle, makes it just quite good reading, really, for the papers.
Well, that's right, and the word honey trap pops up a lot in a lot of the headlines. We haven't got very long, but very quickly take us to The Guardian. We've got about 30 seconds. Tell us about London councils buying up properties.
This is an investigation by, or Guardian analysis that says from 2017, 850 properties have been bought by London councils to remove people who are homeless out of the city and put them in these properties at a cost of about 140 million. 2 things with this quickly. One, it's a drop in the ocean. There's 114 million a month spent on keeping homeless people.
I'm going to stop you, but I'm going to say we're going to bring it up in the next hour.
OK, fine.
Because there's lots to say, clearly.
There is.
Thanks both for now.
Thank you.
Sky News get the full story first.